Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is an amazing story where Lammy, who is our Foreign Secretary, took a £10,000 donation from a Saudi supporting PR chief. Who would have thought it, eh? Now, this story has been run by a few papers, and I'm going to use the Telegraph piece for reference. And their headline is David Lammy's office took £10,000 donation from Saudi supporting PR chief. Register of Interest reveals Mudassar Ahmed also donated £10,000 to the office of Labour MP Shabana Mahmood before the election. So this is just one of yet another quite odd donations, and the amount of donations coming from certain people to people who are now in our cabinet. So David Lammy took £10,000 from Saudi supporting PR executive months before he became Foreign Secretary, the Telegraph can disclose. Mudassar Ahmed donated the money to support his office through Silk Road Consultancy, a company with no employees, of which Mr. Ahmed is the sole director. Silk Road Consultancy also donated £10,000 to Shabana Mahmood, MP, the Lord High Chancellor, before the general election. Mr. Ahmed, 41, who is managing partner of the PR firm Unitas Communications, had previously praised Saudi Arabia and its policies in blogs and comment articles. Writing in the Daily Express in 2016, he chastised Boris Johnson, who said at the time the state of Saudi Arabia was puppeteering in the Middle East. Mr. Ahmed wrote, "What does he expect? A parliamentary democracy with a secular constitution ruling over the Muslim holy sites in Mecca and Medina." In July, he spoke on a panel at the London Stock Exchange about Saudi Arabia and religious pilgrimage, which centred on innovative ways to enhance a pilgrim's journey and to enrich the experience, according to social media posts. He also publicly praised Lammy for seeking to break free from the delusions of grandeur of yesteryear and embrace partnership opportunities instead of its traditional hypocritical lectures. In a comment piece calling on Sir Keir Starmer to reset relations with the Middle East, he added, "With the visionary input of high-profile Muslim politicians, businesswomen, academics and community leaders, the party can start to bridge both within the UK and further afield." The website for Unitas Communications lists clients including Islamic Development Bank, which is majority owned by the Saudi government. Mr. Ahmed claimed that the bank had been listed on the website in error after Unitas collaborated with it on an event a few years ago. He told the Telegraph, "The Islamic Development Bank is not and has never been a Unitas client. The Saudi government is not and has also never been a Unitas client." Well, that's pretty weird, because you've just admitted one line ago that after Unitas collaborated with it on an event a few years ago, now it's not a client. It's a bit weird. Anyway, Unitas is a global communications agency, and like many other agencies, works with diverse clientele across the world. Its revenues are derived largely from regions of the world outside of the Middle East and North Africa. Moreover, donations made by me to David Lammy and Shabana Mahmood were not made from Unitas company funds. No, they were from another company that you own that seems to do nothing apart from donate to members of parliament. I have indeed criticised British foreign policy in the Middle East, as you have pointed out, and spoken at an event in the London Stock Exchange themed on Hajj. We collaborated with the bank on an event a few years ago, and it is not currently or ever been a client. It has been listed in error. Asked if he would donate more money to Labour, he added, "Quite possibly." According to an online CV, Mr. Ahmed was the founder and chairman of the Concordia Forum, an organisation that brought together senior leaders from government, corporate and other sectors to an annual retreat called the Forum. In October 2023, the Concordia Network paid for the flights, accommodation, food and activities of Labour MP Afzal Khan to speak at and attend the annual retreat, totalling over £3,000. Unitas Communications also donated flights and accommodation to Ms Mahmood to speak at Cordia event, totalling £2,380. The Register of Interest also shows that Naz Shah MP, who previously served as Shadow Minister for Crime Reduction, was paid £5,000 by the Concordia Network for 2 speeches in January and March in 2023. Earlier in 2024, the Concordia Forum also hosted Sir Keir Starmer, along with several cabinet ministers and senior Labour politicians, for an iftar event. Iftar is when Muslims are celebrating Ramadan and they're fasting. It's their evening meal on sunset to break their fast. Listed among the 1,000 most influential Londoners, Mr Ahmed has met the Prime Minister and Mr Lammy. He's also been pictured with other figures including Michael Tamir, the former President of Brazil, and Hillary Clinton. Asked about his relationship with Saudi Arabia, he said, "I think that what is happening in Saudi in terms of transformation, the economic, political, religious, social, is actually incredible. I mean, that's something that I think is pretty interesting. The ramifications of the Muslim world are huge." Prince Faisal bin Farha, Saudi Foreign Minister, met with Mr Lammy in London in August, not long after his £10,000 donation. Mr Ahmed has previously accused the Tory party of being Islamophobic with an anti-Muslim attitude and suggested that there are racial double standards in government global policy making. In an article for Arab News published in 2023 criticising Suella Braverman, then the Home Secretary, he wrote, "Ukrainian refugees rightly benefited from a relatively efficient system that welcomed them into safe and warm accommodation. But Sudanese refugees have very few options open to them if they want to seek safety in Europe. Sudan's immediate neighbours are struggling with their own internal conflicts and instability, meaning that any Sudanese wishing to flee to Europe will be at the mercy of dangerous smuggling gangs, which will be more than happy to exploit their misery." Excuse me. Denying the possibility of safe routes to the UK is not just deeply callous to Sudanese, but also deeply offensive to British citizens who do not think in racist terms or who themselves might not be white. The Labour Party declined to comment. Where does it stop? They've been in power, when did they get into power? July, 4th of July. So we're about 2.5 months in, 10, 12 weeks. And all we hear is bribe, sorry, donation, bribe, sorry, donation, bribe, sorry, donations, all over the place for some weird and wonderful things. Now, call me a fool if you wish, but I'm not prepared to accept that anybody gives such large, numerous and frequent donations to any political party, never mind one in government or one that was quids into being government, without any, let's just say, expectations in return. We've heard over the last 24, 48 hours of MPs having birthday parties paid for by people, having accommodation, £2.5 million accommodations given to them free while visited New York with their on-off married boyfriends. We've heard of the Prime Minister getting spectacles, clothes, and even his wife's clothes paid for. And I'm not suggesting this is new nor unique to the Labour Party, but it just shows us how open to corruption our governments actually are. And I think you would be naive to believe that those who run our country are merely the politicians who are in cabinets and in government. They are not free from influence. They are very influenced by people giving them large amounts of money, and not always in cash form, but buying gifts, etc. And I'm not stupid enough to accept or even consider that leaves them away and free from suggestion of corruption. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. Put your comments below, please, about what you think of the video and the content. But most importantly of all, unless you're in this group of lefty MPs and cabinet ministers on the gravy train, not you.
Everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.